Let's solve equations using inverse operations, being careful when doing calculations with negative numbers. Equation number 3. Step 1. Read the equation. In this equation it says negative 3 times a plus 6 is equal to negative 12. Step 2. Use the additive inverse to remove the numeric term on the variable side. So the numeric term on the variable side is this plus 6 because the left-hand side has the variable, here's the variable, and we want to remove this numeric term, which is just the number or the constant. The additive inverse to remove a positive 6 is to subtract 6, and we need to do this to both sides to keep our equation balanced. So subtracting 6 from the left side and subtracting 6 from the right side will end up with 3a equals negative 12 minus 6. Here we are combining two negatives, so we add the values of 12 and 6 together, which is 18, and then we keep the sign negative for a negative 18. And keep in mind here that we wanted to remove this positive 6, and that's exactly what happened. By subtracting 6 from both sides, we got rid of it, but the variable is not alone yet. So how did we remove the numeric term? We remove the numeric term by first finding it over here on the variable side and then subtracting to make sure that it would get eliminated or canceled away or equal out to 0. The additive inverse equals 0. Step 3. Use the multiplicative inverse to solve for the variable. Multiplicative inverse will compute to a positive 1. So here is our variable a. A is not alone because we are multiplying 3 times a. So to undo a multiplication, we need to divide both sides by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 equals a positive 1, so we will have our variable a all alone. On the other side, we are dividing a negative by a negative, so our result will be positive. 18 divided by 3 equals 6, so a equals a positive 6. And now our equation is solved because we have the variable all alone on one side of the equation. How did we solve for the variable? In step 3, to solve for the variable, we had to divide by the value of the coefficient to make sure that the variable will now be all alone on one side of our equation, and we divided by that coefficient value on both sides, and we were careful with our negative number operations to make sure that we use the right sign on our calculations. Step 4 is optional. Check the solution. So if we have our original equation, we take the value 6 and place it in where the variable a was, then we will have a negative 3 times 6 plus 6, and we want to know, does this equal negative 12? So we continue in our calculation. Negative 3 times positive 6 equals a negative 18. Negative 18 plus 6, we are combining two numbers with different signs, so we are going to subtract 18 minus 6 equals 12, and we are going to keep the sign of the greater of those values, which is the 18, so negative 12, and that does equal the value on the other side of our equation. Our number comparison is true, which means that yes, this a equals 6 is the solution to this original equation. We have checked our own work. We don't need to wait for a teacher or any computer to grade us. We graded ourselves, and we are right. You are now ready to solve the equation in problem number 4 using inverse operations and being careful with using your negative number calculations.